Hi guys, welcome back to my channel all about narrations. I'm just gonna get very comfy for this video because what I'm gonna talk about in this video is extremely close to my heart, and it gives me a sense of comfort and it gives me that warm feeling of hugging someone, and that is because I'm gonna talk about my love, my undying eternal love for writing. I put pen to paper for as long as I can remember, honestly, because it started with obviously my childhood. I would write to my diary all the time about my day, and I would mention the significant events that would happen. I would emote, I would write about what that situation made me feel. I would also ponder over it as to why did I react that way. And I was an extreme nerd in school, and if there was like any time when my professors would praise me for my work in front of the whole class, I would write about that. Or if sometimes, somebody said something not so good to me, I would write about that as well. And I did not know that I had started the practice of journaling at a tender age. But I did it because I enjoyed doing it. It was the only thing probably that wasn't mm, like in my routine that was set by my parents or by school or by society or anything. That was completely personal to me, that was sacred and private to me. And writing made me feel so empowered. At that tiny little age, I felt like I had a voice. I felt like my opinion in my head was relevant just because I wrote about it, I gave it a thought, I pondered over it. And eventually, the art of writing developed into the art of writing songs. Now, I would argue that the art of writing songs was heavily influenced by the pop culture, and at that time, I would consume the most amazing shows ever made in the history of pop culture, I think. And that's to name a few. Well, there was Hannah Montana, there was Wizards of Waverly Place, because of which I was introduced to Miley Cyrus's music, Selena Gomez's music, Taylor Swift's music. And at that time, I did not understand any of the songs. I would just jam to it because I loved the entire vibe that they would set. And I remember because of the accents and sometimes it was very fast paced, I would watch all the lyrics videos and I would write them down on a page, or whichever song wasn't clear to me. And I would have pages and pages of those, and I would like literally read that and sing to myself till the time it got ingrained in my head. I mean, that clearly shows how much of a nerd I was, but yeah, I did do that as a thorough practice for any song that I didn't understand. So yeah, writing those songs written by someone else and just listening to the kind of music that I preferred gave me a certain confidence at like 12 years of age or 14 years of age to like start writing. And at that time I had like a crush on a boy, and I took that as my motivation. I did not go through any heartbreak. Life had not happened to me yet. I was in my small little comfy bubble. But so what was the spicy part in my life is probably, apart from getting all the straight A's, it was probably like just having a crush on the guy that I did for like years. And I don't know if it's like too much information, but I'm a Leo, so I'm extremely loyal. If I have a crush on someone, well, it's gonna last for ages and ages and ages till you don't like do something that makes me get over it, to be honest. Anyway, my point being, my art of writing into a journal or a diary transitioned into writing for like just writing in a very romanticized manner. And that's again, I have had a lot of influence in my life when it comes to like the Indian cinema or Bollywood and all of these things. And then I started writing songs basically, and I started writing songs about times when I didn't have that much strength in me to, put on a brave face. I had my weak moments as a teenager, extremely, extremely weak moments, and I found sort of the outlet for all these emotions into those songs. And as raw and as childish as they were, I still feel like they were they are something that talk a lot about my personality and that made my personality the way it is now. Cut to, it's probably like a decade later that I did not touch writing a lot in that time, in like for 8 years, I think a good 8 years, because I went into my undergrad and I did not have the time to, you know, I did not have the time to, and I completely think right now, looking back, that if I had to make time, I would have, but I completely stopped the practice. So I could not continue or could not give time for my writing because of my undergrad, and then my office started, and all of that took a backseat for I think 8 years. On and off, I would write, but it wasn't as consistent as it should have been. Now comes the interesting bit of why did Bhagyashree start writing again, and why did she think of opening an Instagram page all about narrations? Why after 8 years? And I'm gonna link it down somewhere, my Instagram page, in the description. So do check that out if you really love to read some heavy writing, some very intense writing. So, I feel like everything in my life is driven as per the human relationships around me that I have, and what they bring in my life, the kind of peace or the kind of chaos that they bring in my life. And I am heavily influenced by those. I'm learning to be way more patient and way more calmer before I react or before I get affected by people or their actions. But around like 2 years ago, that wasn't the case, and I did come across a relationship that made me really look inwards into my own beliefs, into my own sort of morals, and after a lot of introspection, because of that relationship, I would give it full credit that was the root cause of why I seriously took up writing. Now, the reason being that it did not end in a very healthy way for me, and I had to channelize that somewhere. The 8 years before that, I did not give my emotions any space. I did not give um, myself any time to sit with my thoughts and evaluate and grow emotionally. But because of certain situations, I was forced to sit down with my thoughts. I was forced to ask myself some really, really, really important questions, and it became extremely overwhelming for me to just think about it all the time. And I started writing it down. But this time, the way I started writing it down wasn't, "Dear diary, today I am feeling da 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 da." No. This time it came out in the form of a story, in the form of a narrative. And it had characters, it had issues. So, as my narrative went ahead, as the story went ahead, these characters, they had their own little life, and they were all breathing and growing. And writing has this one power, is that I can control it. I can control my narrative. I can choreograph it. I can direct it. So the lack of control that I felt over my life was compensated by this little amount of control that I had in my bubble of writing, I guess. And as I started writing this story, as these characters were, creating their own dynamics, and I was enjoying every bit of it, writing about their backgrounds, their upbringing, their actions and reactions to things, and just their emotional quotients and how it developed over time. I was I felt more validated. My feelings felt more validated through these characters, and I'm still working on it, and I am still writing it, and I hope to put it out in the world soon. But before that, I thought that I need to carve out a small little niche of myself, which, when it comes to writing, I need to display it somewhere. And that is why a little over a year ago, I opened a really small Instagram page called All About Narrations, and I started putting up my writing bits in it, and those weren't necessarily related to the book that I'm writing, that I spoke about, but there I actually gave my writing a shape and form, and put thought in it, and made it more articulate. And yeah, I think I would like to take this opportunity to read out a few of those little small pieces of writing that I have. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope you guys relate to it. As the light of dawn seeped into my room today, I found myself reminiscing all the mornings that began with you. I kept asking you about love. You kept creating an enigma. I kept asking you about love. You kept looking at me baffled. I kept asking you about love. You kept answering me in puzzles. Nothing made sense until I asked you yet again about love, and you answered me with great affliction. So, these are a few bits and pieces of the writing that I enjoy doing, and the kind of writing I would like to continue to do. So yeah, I think this video was just to introduce in a very explicit way my love for writing and stories and narratives. And if you have any uh, pieces that you have written, or any poems or anything that you enjoy enjoyed writing, please comment down below. I would love to read them. And I hope you enjoyed listening to me today, and I will see you in the next video very soon. Do not forget to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.